call to prayer drifts over the coral rooftops. The sun descends behind the ocean and its stars. By ferry at the golden hour, when Stone Town's ancient walls began to flower. In amber light that pressed between the lanes, the carved wooden doors reflected all their stains of centuries of trade, wind, salt and spice, of Persian merchants rolling clothes on ice. I set my bag beside the courtyard well and breathe the dust that only Zanzibar can tell. When the muezzin calls, the whole island salutes. When the sun descends, every narrow passage glows. Stone Town dusk pulling me inside. Every alleyway a new place to hide. Stone Town dusk ancient in my chest, the Indian Ocean doing all the rest. Stone Town dusk carry me along where the close smoke rises into something long. Merchants pack their market stalls at 5. The cats thread through the labyrinth alive. A Swahili grandmother fans herself outside, her doorway carved with chains of endless tide. The dhow boats creak against the harbor wall. The fishermen come home before nightfall. I watch it all from the old fort terrace stone and understand I've never felt less alone. When the muezzin calls, the whole island slows. When the sun descends, every narrow passage glows. Stone Town dusk pulling me inside. Every alleyway a new place to hide. Stone Town dusk ancient in my chest, the Indian Ocean doing all the rest. There are cities that perform themselves for you, and cities that just live and let you through. Stone Town doesn't need your admiration. It has survived 1,000 years of patient navigation. Stone Town dusk pulling me inside. Every alleyway a new place to hide. Stone Town dusk carried me along where the close smoke rises into something long. Comes the dark, the lanterns light the lane. Stone Town keeps its secrets until you come again. Cinnamon and cardamom in the morning air. The market stalls are opening before the city wakes to to stay. The spice tour starts before the heat descends. The guide crushes lemongrass between his hands and holds the scent beneath my morning nose. A perfume older than the trade wind blows. The nutmeg tree is wrapped in scarlet maize, a thing so beautiful it has no other face. He cuts a clove branch with a practiced knife and says this island built the merchant's life. Dawn is made of spice and salt and soil. The market gives itself before the long day's toil. Spice market dawn, breaking over me. Every jar and basket has a history. Spice market dawn, ancient and alive. This is how the island learned to trade and thrive. Spice market dawn, cardamom and clove. Everything I am grew from this grove. The vanilla orchid climbs the shade tree slow. The pepper vine wraps everything below. A woman strips the cinnamon from the bark with practiced hands that work before the dark. The guide explains that Zanzibar once fed the whole world's appetite for spice instead of war and politics and hungry power. The island simply grew from flower to flower. Dawn is made of spice and salt and soil. The market gives itself before the long day's toil. Spice market dawn, breaking over me. Every jar and basket has a history. Spice market dawn, ancient and alive. This is how the island learned to trade and thrive. Of cloves to bring back home, a handful of nutmeg seeds still in their mace-wrapped dome. 6 months later, in a winter kitchen gray, I cracked them open and was back in Zanzibar that day. Spice market dawn, breaking over me. Every jar and basket has a history. Spice market dawn, cardamom and clove. Everything I am grew from this grove. The market fills with morning. The spices fill the air. The island feeds the world again from its ancient care. Torches are lit along the waterfront. The smoke of grilled fish rises from the stump of Forodhani vendors fanning their coals, while the Indian Ocean reclaims all souls. At dusk the gardens fill with plastic chairs. The families come with their evening prayers. The mishkaki meat is threaded on the stick. The rojo soup is poured over bread thick. A schoolboy sells his samosas hot, 2 for the price that he decides on the spot. The old men argue at the domino stone, while the dhow lights flicker, coming home. Firelight on the water, smoke across the bay. Forodhani holds the island at the end of every day. Forodhani firelight, burning at the edge, where the ocean meets the city, and the night makes its pledge. Forodhani firelight, smoking salt and heat, smoking salt and heat. This is where the island comes to finally. The sugarcane juice machine creaks and turns. The vendor's arms are steady as he earns. A woman orders octopus and coconut cream. The vendor smiles and says nothing is what it seems. A Maasai man stands tall beside the stand, watching the tourists navigate this land with their plastic bags and their lonely guides, not knowing what Forodhani hides. Firelight on the water, smoke across the bay. Forodhani holds the island at the end of every day. Forodhani firelight, burning at the edge, where the ocean meets the city, and the night makes its pledge. Some places only come alive at night, when the heat releases and the stars ignite. Forodhani is the kitchen of the sea, where the island feeds itself and feeds me. Forodhani firelight, firelight, oh firelight, burning at the edge, smoke and salt and heat. This is where the island comes to be. The fires burn low around midnight. The sail fills with the evening wind. The dhow leans into the gold. Everything that needs to end has already been told. We rented the old door for the afternoon. The captain's son untied the rope at noon and pushed us out into the channel wide, where the Indian Ocean met the outgoing tide. The hull is carved from Enoo, they say, that grew on Themba Island far away. The sail is patched in 3 or 4 places, with the patience of unhurried island faces. Out on the water, the city disappears. Out on the water, there are no more years. Dhow at sunset, rocking slow. Every care I carry starting to go. Dhow at sunset, on the open sea. This is the freest I have ever been. The captain's son sings something low and no, a Swahili fishing song, I'm told. His voice goes out across the flattened sea, and the ocean sings it back to you and me. The sun hits the horizon like a coin, but nothing moves quite like the Darwin breeze. The rhythm of the hull against the swell is the oldest story the ocean never tells. Dhow at sunset, on the open sea. This is the freest I have ever been. Harbor lights begin to show. The captain turns the bow back slow. The dhow comes home as it has always done, long after the setting of the sun. The sandbar appears at low tide, a white strip in the turquoise sea. The boat drops anchor far from shore and leaves the rest to you and me. Nakupenda means I love you in Swahili. The sandbar earned that name for how it feels to stand knee-deep in warm, impossible blue, while the mainland disappears from view. The water is so clear you see your shadow on the white sand 20 feet below. The fish dart past your ankles unconcerned. This is the peace that cannot be unlearned. On this sandbar, nothing has a name. On this sandbar, everything is the same. Nakupenda Beach. I love you, I love you. Every shade of blue. Grilled lobster on the boat's edge, while the dhow swayed on the coral hedge. The captain's wife had packed coconut rice and mango chutney cut into precise triangles of sweetness on the tray. This is what they mean by a perfect day. I counted 14 shades of blue around us, and still the ocean found more to astound us. On this sandbar, nothing has a name. Nakupenda Beach. I love you, I love you. Every shade of blue, telling me it's true. The tide will rise and take this sandbar back into the sea without apology. Some places only exist in the space between one wave and the next coming into view. Take me out to sea on this disappearing sand. Finally be free. The sandbar sinks below the tide. The boat lifts anchor for the ride. Nakupenda whispers from the deep. Some love is yours to find and keep.
The moon rises over Kendwa, full and slow and wide. The drums start at the shoreline with the incoming tide. Every full moon Kendwa Beach transforms into something older than its forms. The beach bar opens its sound system wide. The drummer finds its center in the tide. Bodies from a dozen different nations find the same rhythm through their hesitations. The fire twirlers spin their arcs of light, while the Indian Ocean holds the night. When the moon is full, the island has no sleep. When the moon is full, the music cuts too deep. Kendwa full moon, rising over all of us. Everybody melting into trust. Kendwa full moon, dancing on the shore. I have never needed anything more. The Rastaman sells something from his back. The Japanese photographer drops his laugh and dances for the first time in 10 years. The German couple lose their city fears. A Kenyan DJ takes the decks at 2 and plays a set that makes the whole crowd move. The drumline joins him from the fireside, and for 3 minutes everyone is tired. When the moon is full, the island has no sleep. When the moon is full, the music cuts too deep. Kendwa full moon, rising over all of us. Everybody melting into trust. Full moon parties happen everywhere, but Kendwa has the Indian Ocean there. The bass goes out across the water flat and comes back changed by something after that. Kendwa full moon, dancing on the shore. I have never needed anything more. The moon sets at 5. The last dancer finds the sea. The full moon always gives you back a different version of who you want to be. Below the surface, the coral breeze, the manta rays glide
through the turquoise leaves. Chumbe Island is the protected reef, where the coral gardens offer no relief from beauty that exceeds your every frame. Every fish has a color with no name. We snorkeled through the garden in the warm, long before the afternoon's first storm. The hawksbill turtle moved past us slow, as if we were just part of its flow. Under the surface, everything is still. Under the surface, the ocean has its will. Chumbe Island Reef, holding all its breath. This far below the world, there is no time or death. Chumbe Island Reef, ancient coast. Listen to the silence when the ocean calls. The ranger showed us where the parrotfish sleep, inside them mucus bubbles soft and deep. She said the reef took centuries to grow, and one careless anchor could undo the flow. I floated over brain coral and fan, and felt the smallest of the human plan. The reef does not need witnesses or words, it only needs the absence of our hurts. Under the surface, everything is still. Under the surface, the ocean has its will. Chumbe Island Reef, holding all its breath. This far below the world, there is no time or death. Protected since 1992, the reef came back from what we put it through. Some things recover if you simply leave them be. That is the lesson of the Chum Sea. Chumbe Island Reef, ancient coral walls. Listen to the silence when the ocean calls. We rise back to the surface slow. The reef stays where it's always been below. The boat is waiting with its gentle rope. The reef gave us something beyond hope. The carved door opens inward into a courtyard of light. Every door in Stone Town has a story of a night. The Zanzibar Door is the island signature. No two the same in their carved scripture. Brass studs like the spikes that kept the elephants from leaning on the doors of merchants. Indian influenced with lotus and chase, Arab arched with geometric rays, African in the hardwood underneath. Each door is a language and a reed. Every door was carved for someone's pride. Every door holds something deep inside. Every door is open if you know how to read the language carved into its knees. Zanzibar Door, open to the past. Everything behind it, built to last. Zanzibar Door, carved from memory. What we keep behind us sets us free. The best door carver works on Harumzi Street. His tools are handed down and incomplete. He fills the gaps with patience and with nerve, and follows where the grain decides to curve. I watched him for an hour in the heat. His mallet tapped the only steady beat. The door he worked on will outlast us both. A century of grain committed to the oath. Every door was carved for someone's pride. Every door holds something deep inside. Zanzibar Door, open to the past. Everything behind it, built to last. I pressed my palm against the oldest door I found, on a street so narrow that it had no sound. The brass was warm from decades of the sun. The wood still held the smell of what was done, of clove oil rubbed into the grain each year, by hands that kept the door alive with care. Zanzibar Door, carved from memory. What we keep behind us sets us free. The door stays open in my mind long after I leave. Stone down behind. Some entrances become exits, and some exits become the door you find. Three civilizations met on this coast and left their music in the most unexpected places in the groove. The Swahili soul is what they prove. The Swahili coast is not one thing, it is the accumulation of the ring of Persian Gulf and African interior, and and Indian Ocean trade superior. The language itself is proof of this, a Bantu tongue with Arabic in the mix, and Portuguese borrowed words still there from the old colonial seafaring air. The coast holds every wave that ever came and gives it back in something not the same. The coast is always more than what arrived. It is the music of the ones who survive. Swahili coast soul moving through my blood, Arabic and African rising from the mud. Swahili coast soul, ancient trade wind groove. This is how a culture finds its deepest move. The Tarab Orchestra plays on Thursday night. 12 musicians and a singer in the light of lanterns strung across the old hotel, where the trade winds used to ring the bell. The Ouden violin and accordion meet with the Swahili words that make it complete. I don't understand a single line she sings, but I understand exactly what it brings. The coast holds every wave that ever came and gives it back in something not the same. Swahili coast soul moving through my blood, Arabic and African rising from the mud. Dhow is the music of longing here, of distance and of love, and of the fear that what you love will always be at sea, coming toward you slowly, endlessly. Swahili coast soul, ancient trade wind groove. This is how a culture finds its deepest move. African, the jazz. The ferry to Prison Island moves slow through the haze. The giant tortoises wait in their unhurried ways. Prison Island was built to hold the men who caused the Arab traders grief, and then was never used as a prison after all. The tortoises took over every hall. They roamed the grassy slopes at glacial pace, each one over 100 years of grace. The oldest one was born before the phone, before the car, before the overblown. Slow down, the tortoise knows no rush. Slow down, the island holds its hush. Prison island slow, moving at the tortoise pace. Every step a meditation, every year a trace. Prison island slow, nothing needs to hurry. The Indian Ocean holds every human worry. Every human worry. I sat beside the oldest one and tried to match my breathing to his ancient tide. He blinked once in the hour that I was there, a gesture full of more than I could bear. The keeper said he was gifted by a king from Seychelles in a long-forgotten spring. He has outlived the kingdom that he came from. He has outlived the reason and the song. Slow down, the tortoise knows no rush. Slow down, the island holds its hush. Prison island slow, moving at the tortoise pace. Every step a meditation, every year a trace. What would it mean to live 100 years with no agenda and no human fears? Just the grass beneath your feet each day, the shade of the same tree in the same way. Prison island slow, nothing needs to hurry. The Indian Ocean holds every human worry. The tortoise turns away into the afternoon. Some creatures carry time like a very patient tune. Deep in the Jozani forest, the red colobus waits. This island made its own behind the mangrove gates. The Zanzibar red colobus exists nowhere else, a primate that the island made itself. From mainland ancestors cut off by sea, 10,000 years of island identity. They move through the canopy in groups of 12, their red and black coat moving like stealth. The forest drum of their feet across the branch is older than the oldest island dancer. The forest has its own percussion. The forest has its own song. The forest was here before us, and will be here long. Jozani forest drum beating through the trees. Ancient island primate swinging in the breeze. Jozani forest drum, nothing made by hands. Just the colobus calling across the ancient lands. The mangrove boardwalk takes you to the edge, where salt water meets fresh at the forest ledge. The archer fish shoots water at the flies, a tiny hunter under island skies. The guide speaks softly as the colobus descend to the forest floor where the low branches bend. They look at us with absolute unconcern, as if our presence has nothing left to learn. The forest has its own percussion. The forest has its own song. Jozani forest drum beating through the trees. Ancient island primate swinging in the breeze. Isolation made the colobus what it is, a creature perfectly adapted to its quiz. Of challenges the island set before it, I wonder what the island has in store for it. Jozani forest drum, nothing perfect, nothing made by hands. Just the colobus calling across the ancient lands. They disappear into the canopy high. The forest goes quiet under the open sky. We walk back through the mangroves to the road. The forest keeps its own ancestral code.
The dhow-builders work at Nungwi, with adzes shaped by time. The hull takes shape from the mango wood with every practiced climb. At Nungwi the dhow-builders still work by hand. No power tools, no automated plan. The master craftsmen read the wood by touch, knowing which curve is too little or too much. 3 generations work the same design that sailed the Indian Ocean from the time of Sinbad and the Arab merchant fleet, when Zanzibar and Oman used to meet. The tide comes in and takes the dhow away. The tide goes out and brings the craftsman's day. The Nungwi tide is patient as the trade that made this dhow-building island great. Nungwi tide rolling in and out. Every dhow that's ever sailed carries all its doubt. Nungwi tide moving through the wood. Every plank is a decision understood. The beach
at Nungwi curves into the north, where the tide turns twice and the current goes forth. The fishermen launch at 4 before the sun, and return when the morning catch is done. Their dhows are smaller than the traders were, but built by the same hands with the same care. The wood is soaked in coconut oil and salt, and launched again without a single fault. The tide comes in and takes the dhow away. The tide goes out and brings the craftsman's day. Tide rolling in and out, every dhow that's ever sailed carries all its dhow. Some skills survive because the sea demands them. Some